So imagine that watching out for trends and working in cyber is like being a surfer, because surfers are actively looking for waves and they are jumping on those waves, right? And they are riding those waves. And when a wave is going down, they are just going out and jumping on a new wave. And that's how we should be working, right? Look for trends, go with those trends, and when we see the trends are going down, start looking for a new wave, new one, right? So my question is like, do you want to just stay on the shore and watch other people riding waves, or you want to be a surfer by yourself, right?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel Inside Podcast. I'm your host, Dinara, and today I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by my guest, Gabriella Gorzycka, Director of Cybersecurity for Strategic Engagements at Atos. Welcome to the show, Gabriella.
Welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here and to be able to talk to you today. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Our story goes back to 4 years when we met at one of the cybersecurity events, and we had a fantastic introduction and engagements. I do remember this very well. So tell me a little bit more about your personal journey. Was it intentional to join the cybersecurity? Did you plan it, or how did it go?
It's funny because it was not planned at all. My whole career was a kind of, I would say surprise. If I would meet myself like 15 years ago and tell her where I'm in now, I'm sure that Gabriella from 15 years back wouldn't believe me really. Actually, I studied applied linguistics, English and German, and I was educated to become either a teacher or translator, interpreter. But my target was always to work in a big international environment, because what I loved is I love contact with people from all over the world, right? I love mixing with people from different cultures and get to know them and so on. That's the environment I'm really thrilling in. So actually, I did not intend to go to cyber. I didn't even intend specifically to go to IT. It's just when I was graduating, when I studied in my last year of applied linguistics, I got the opportunity to join Atos, because Atos has a base in my city, and they were very kind to hire people like me, so graduates or nearly graduates who spoke perfectly 2 or 3 languages, just to start their career in IT, right? So what we got was actually we got trainings, and we also, of course, learned by getting more and more experience. But my first job was a very basic position, because I was a first line support engineer, or service desk agent, as we used to call them, right? So I would say I started the career in IT from a very important part, right? Because I was communicating directly with the users, and I started to understand like what technical issues people may have. And it was a great entry level, because thanks to it, I started to understand the whole ecosystem of IT and delivering IT to business customers. But then after, not so long actually, I came to the conclusion that I'm looking for something different, and I'm not enjoying this position so much. So I switched the department, and I started work at a process department. So it wasn't cybersecurity yet, a process department related to ITIL processes. I became an ITIL expert, and my area that I specialized in was problem management, which again, it's funny, like what path is bringing you to the point where you are right now, because that experience gave me a lot in my current professional work, because being a problem manager is basically about learning on how to analyze technical issues and really getting into the core of the problem and taking appropriate corrective actions so that it won't happen in the future, right? So I was active in this work. I also started my first managerial position there and got some managers experience. And again, after 3 years, I felt like I hit the ceiling there, right? I couldn't like develop myself anymore. And then my friend, a very good friend who actually was working in the cyber field in the same company, she said like, hey, we are developing like crazy. Would you like to join us? Because we need people, we need good people. You would be great there. And I was like, cybersecurity, I have no idea about
Yeah.
cyber. And basically, it was like cyber was always perceived as a, let's say, super distanced group of people who are doing some special work, right? Like special forces within IT
Yeah.
who are really like, very secretive about their job, and not many people actually knew what they are doing. But I was like, yeah, I'm happy to try something new, and especially if it's developing. And that's how I started actually. And I loved it so much that it was like, I guess something like 8, 9 years ago. And I was still here, and I'm enjoying it. And yeah, that's how I actually started. It wasn't intentional, but with a very good outcome for me.
Exactly. And I like the fact that we share similar background. I graduated from the University of Different Languages, including German, English, and French, and then kind of moved into cybersecurity myself. It's really fascinating. I believe it is very much male dominated area. It still is. Would you agree with me? How do you feel yourself being, a very prominent female figure in the field of cybersecurity? Are there any challenges associated with it?
Of, c- of course they are. It's not just a feeling, because according to statistics, definitely percentage when it comes to a ratio men versus women in cyber, there are definitely less women in cyber than in other IT fields, right? So I think it's also because, as said, before people join cybersecurity, many of them do not really have like, an idea like what it is actually about, right? What
Uh-huh.
type of work is executed there. And you may think that you need a very a specialist, like, knowledge and experience to even be able to join there, right? And
Mhm.
I guess women feel like they will not be like well received there, or that they do not have enough experience. And that's why we definitely need more women in the cybersecurity field, because it is like every other IT branch that you can learn it, right? Everybody had some entry point at some point, as we call it, right? Because even the biggest specialist, the biggest expert, they had to start somewhere. So I guess it's more on us that we
Yeah.
try to be perfect, and unless we feel like really confident in something, we prefer not to start, rather than that we are not welcome there. I mean, I personally felt very welcome when I
Yeah.
started. There were not many women in my team, but the gentlemen who were working in a team with me were super supportive, and they were actually happy to have women in their back, in
Exactly,
their
to
field.
balance
So
things out. Exactly.
they
Yeah.
were excited about it. They were excited about it. So I felt like very warm welcomed.
Fantastic, fantastic. Gabriella, recently I had a job interview in one of the most prominent companies in cybersecurity, very well known company. And the hiring manager asked me a simple question: how do you sell cybersecurity? And I'm very curious to ask you the same questions. How do you sell cybersecurity?
hmm That's a very good question, because what I observe in the environment, right, in the market, is that we tend to scare people
Mhm.
out with cyber, right? Because we tend to say like, you need to be secure because otherwise you'll have big issues with your company and so on, right? So we rather tend to scare people than to really comfort them with cyber. Recently, I came to a very different conclusion, and that's how I'm selling cyber right now, is
Mhm.
that cybersecurity is not something that you need to do because you are threatened. It should be rather perceived as an investment that
Uh,
will help your company to excel and differentiate on the market. So it's an upgrade to your company. Of course, it's something necessary, because security safety is a common thing that we need to all have, right? But
Exactly.
I would prefer to show this part that people do not think about, is we are now very much talking about sovereignty and being sovereign, right? We are very much talking about security of data of customers, right? And security of cloud and so on. So imagine the company that is competing for new customers.
Mhm.
Which company would you pick as a customer? The one that you know is very secure, where your data are secure, when you know it's sovereign, right? And you are not afraid of keeping your data there, or the one that you cannot grant it, right? So we should start perceiving security as a kind of investment and differentiator on the market, because all companies need to be secure, but it gives you also this comfort of as a customer, right? And you are more likely to give your money to buy your, buy goods and so on from the company that invests in cyber, right? And cybersecurity also helps to really develop the companies. And one of the metaphors I really love to talk about is Formula One, my favorite sports discipline. And I'm going to also, yes, I'm going to record a very short video about it also very soon, because Formula One used to be a very dangerous sport. It is still dangerous, but imagine when they started, like, every season there were some fatalities, right? Some casualties. And people basically were dying in car crashes there. Once the Formula One really took their efforts to start building security and safety measures for the contestants, and they started like improving the safety, like building halos around the head and so on. That was the moment where actually Formula One drivers could really start speeding, right? Because they felt secure, and this helped them to really speed up above the limits, right? So that's how I like to perceive cyber. Cyber is this halo that will help your company to really speed up because you feel safe, right? And you can really go to those extra miles.
And it's great analogy as well. Sometimes they say, how do you explain cybersecurity to children? That's a great analogy. It's being protective, having this peace of mind. And I believe each sales conversation should start with cybersecurity these days, regardless, because it's of a paramount importance. We're kind of moving towards a very fascinating topic, because on this channel we talk a lot about AI. So in cybersecurity particularly, I've heard a lot of discussions about AI generated threats, or bad actors using AI in the wrong way. Do you have any views about it?
Yes, of course. So it's been an arms race between us and between the hackers, right? Because AI brought new possibilities. AI automated the way that attack is being conducted. Imagine the scale. In the past, when it was manually done, the reconnaissance, the actual breach, right? And the breach trials, this was very often done multiple times before hackers actually succeeded, right? And it took a lot of time. And now imagine that actually AI never sleeps, never eats, doesn't need any breaks, right? So even by doing brute force attacks, AI is much more powerful and able to succeed because of the scale, right? Because of the power that it has. And now I guess that Mythos showcased even more how important it is to be also secure against the AI driven attacks, because all those vulnerabilities that are going to be discovered very soon, hackers will not hesitate to use AI just to use those vulnerabilities and try to breach the organization's ecosystems as soon as they can, right? So what we can do about it is, if AI can be a weapon, AI can also be a protector. And that's what we are doing, right? We are also leveraging AI to ensure that our protection is way better than it was, to discover some gaps whenever people omit them and don't see them, right? To change the way even in which the code is developed, because now the security checks can be totally embedded and measured thanks to AI, and many more, right? We can automate pen tests. If we can automate attacks, we can automate pen tests as well, which means that we can conduct them more often and be better prepared in the end. And also, of course, AI can help us to do the analysis of threats much quicker, which helps our SOC to be well prepared and to really work in a more effective way, right? To be able to sooner know what's happening. And imagine that the analysis that can take up to, I don't know, half an hour to be done manually, right, on the new
Yeah.
thread.
Mhm.
AI will just give you a ready summary within minutes, and you will just need to make your decision. So it will be
Unbelievable.
way faster. It is already way faster and way more effective. So we need to battle AI with AI simply, right? And where
Absolutely.
it will bring us, we will see.
I like this statement. Yeah, battle AI with AI, the battle of AI war. Exactly. Fantastic. So my next question, Gabriella, I had is and you kind of alluded to this already, saying we need to see more and more young people joining cybersecurity. Do you have any advice for newly grads who've just graduated from the universities, or maybe just people who want to change industry and career and join cybersecurity? Is there any advice as to where they need to start?
I would say, unfortunately, that times are not easy for new graduates and for people who try to now at this point to start their career in cyber. Having the comparison that I had, right, when I started, I could be taught everything, and it was very easy. The entry level was not really high, and nowadays we have the problem that. A lot of entry jobs have been automated, right? Using AI or any other automation tool. And when the entry level starts at, I would say, level 2, right? It's very difficult to be a new person to cyber and even new person to IT in general. And
Mhm.
my mentees, because I'm also a mentor, I collaborate with a mentorship organization, Women for Cyber. So my mentees experience that as well, right? They try to get into cyber, and it's clear that it's more difficult than it ever was. So the
Yeah.
times are not easy, but I would like to definitely comfort the new graduates, right? That it doesn't mean that they will not get a job here, because we still need cybersecurity specialists, right? So now the question is how to become a specialist if you are just starting right now.
Yeah.
And what's important, it's not only about experience, because in
Mhm.
cyber, things are changing so fast that the person who has been working in cyber for 20 years but stick to one and the same technology means that this knowledge is not valid anymore, that it's been almost gone, right? Or the technology is a commodity technology right at the moment. So it's not that our experience is the only thing that matters. It's important to be always on the verge of the new technology, to look into the emerging trends and be the first person to absorb them. So of course the basics needs to be done, right? We need to know the basics of cyber. But what I observed in my career is that young people could very quickly become the experts if they were watching trends and they were reacting to those trends very fast. And sometimes we had people who became architects because they were simply the first ones to touch the new ground, right? And to
Yeah.
excel at it. So I would say be aware of what's happening in the cyber world and learn new technologies, learn the emerging technologies, because what's emerging at the moment in 2 years' time will be a normal service, right? And there will be like high demand for that. So for me also, it helped to accelerate my career a lot, that I was always looking at the trends, and I tried to be the first person who was already like, be skilled and learn the emerging trends. And it's not an easy thing to do because you are on the new ground. You don't have a teacher. You need to learn by yourself, right? But if you
Yes.
are motivated enough to do it, you are committed to spend time on that. This will be a very good investment that will pay off. So that's what I definitely would advise, to look for new trends and to really try to shape your career. This is another metaphor that I actually like to use. I used it recently in a meeting with other women who also want to become the executives, and they loved it. So imagine that watching out for trends and working in cyber is like being a surfer, because surfers are actively looking for waves and they are jumping on those waves, right? And they are riding those waves. And when a wave is going down, they are just going out and jumping on a new wave. And that's how we should be working, right? Look for trends, go with those trends. And when we see the trends are going down, start looking for a new wave, new one, right? So my question is like, do you want to just stay on the shore and watch other people riding waves, or you want to be a surfer by yourself, right? And of course, the answer is you want to be a
Everyone
surfer
wants to be
because
a surfer. Yeah.
it's such a cool thing to be a surfer, right? But you know what I mean, actually.
But it's also, quite dangerous. You have to be sharp. You have to be on the go. It's really resonating with me, what you're saying. And hopefully, the audience that's listening to our podcast can pick up on this, and as I said, sometimes it's so easy to learn things on the go, on the job, and just be curious, have this
Yeah,
inquisitive mind, especially.
definitely.
And also, just came to my mind. Do you know maybe there are some companies that offer postgraduate programs? Are you aware of any going on, like maybe Palo Alto,
I
CrowdStrike, or
I know that those major leaders on the market are organizing such courses on regular basis, and there are also organizations like, for example, Women for Cyber, who help women to start or to develop their career in cyber. So I would just, start googling that or ask AI what are
yes,
the organizations and who is
yeah,
helping there.
really great advice here. Gabrielle, as we're wrapping up our discussions now, is there anything I haven't asked you about or you would like to share? Perhaps something from your personal interests or anything that excites you in everyday life?
Yeah, definitely. I would say connecting with people all around the world as it used to was exciting for me. It's still exciting. So it's great to connect with leaders and people who are enthusiasts in cyber all over the world. So feel free to connect me on my LinkedIn. I'm also posting there regularly. I give advice on cyber. I watch out for trends in cyber and I'm explaining them in a very simple language. That's my target, right? I want also people who are not only, I would say, experts in cyber to understand what are the new threats, what are the new trends, and what they should be looking out for in their organizations. So feel free to connect to me there and follow me there. I'm more than happy to stay connected with all of you. And we are living in a really excited times because of AI, because of the geographical situation. Cybersecurity is more important than it ever was, right? And definitely, it's very good to be there, even if you are not working directly in cyber. It's good to let's say to watch, to follow, and to understand on what's happening in the cyber world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gabriella, for your time, for your generous advice, for your knowledge. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
It was pleasure for me, pleasure on my side. Thank you very much, Dinara, for inviting me. And yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed this.
Definitely.